What's up, guys? What's
What's
up?
up?
Hey,
How you doing?
um, good. It's Saturday here at
It is.
MMJP. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, huh? You had a good morning so far?
Hey,
What's up, David?
what's up, the chat? Um, all right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our first live stream for MMJP, so should be an adventure, you know. Um, and welcome everyone who's hopping in, and I'm glad you could join us. Um, so for this first live stream, I wanted to give a little bit of a background on sort of like who we are, what we're doing, um, and kind of talk a little bit about our tech and how we're doing it. So I'm gonna awkwardly as possible, just roll right into it.
All right,
Okay.
let's do this.
All right. All right. So what are we doing here? We're making games, guys. So MMJP is a gaming company first. We've done some fun projects in the crypto space, but I want to make that very clear. We're super amped about games. All of us come from gaming backgrounds. We've been playing games for decades. We've got Russ here is really great on understanding like depth in terms of like strategy and how to form games that are fun to play. And so we've got a lot of talent that we're bringing to making games. So what are we? We're a company that makes games. We're focusing on gameplay first, and I want to stress that just to introduce us. We're making games, right? Um,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of we do have a crypto um, aspect to our games, and there's a lot of companies that are out there focusing on crypto first, and games kind of like as an augment to crypto. And that's definitely something that we want to invert. We want to invert that relationship.
Yeah. I would say even more so, we want to bring Main Street gaming to the crypto space, and that's kind of what we strive to do at MMJP. But making sure that uh, finding the fun and making sure everything that we're doing is fun for our customers is priority number one.
So okay. So talking a little bit about gameplay. What is gameplay, right? And how can that tie into the blockchain, right? So what is gameplay? A lot of times, gameplay is really just about resource management, right? In a lot of different types of games, and this can be all types of things. This can be cognitive resource management, right? So if you're playing something more intensive, like a first-person shooter, you know, Call of Duty, Halo, something like that, you're playing something that is demanding on your cognitive time. You talk about APMs in a game like StarCraft or something like that, where you have to figure out how many actions can I do in a given like loop or clock,
Yeah.
and how can I best spend that time? And then you have other resources like, okay, I've got a couple of avatars on the board, right? And how can I best position or utilize those resources? And then you have other resources that are more like fungible resources, right? And these are like coins or power, mana, health, right? These are different types of resources that you can spend in game. And so if you
Yep.
think about it that way, if you think about health and mana as like fungible coins, then you start to see how maybe this can translate. Sorry, I
Into
didn't
the
mean to cut
block.
you off, Russ. I wanted to hear
No,
your
no,
thought.
yeah, I was agreeing with you there. Like I think that's one of the things that uh, has a lot of opportunity is you can step back and really look at what those resources are, like you've mentioned, and how they fit into that kind of a resource system that the blockchain provides for you.
Right, right, exactly. So a lot of actually these mechanics translate really well onto a blockchain. You basically have fungible tokens. That's anything that you can spend, like your power, your mana, and then you have sort of your non-fungibles, which would be your unique characters, your avatars, your pawns on the
Hmm.
board, right? And if you think about it that way, everything just starts to click and make sense. It really can work in a blockchain space.
Yeah.
So taking that sort of a viewpoint on it, um, there's 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 some things that don't work as well, right, in the blockchain space, and we've seen this with some games that have come out in the past, things that we've tried already, and that has to do with sort of the speed and pacing of the blockchain. What the blockchain is designed to do as be a decentralized ledger,
Right.
And so there's some trade-offs there that we're all familiar with. In terms of throughput, how many actions per second can players take in game if it's being persisted directly to the blockchain? And what kind of games can you build with those limitations, right? And there's different types of games on this spectrum. You have, again, you talk about your really high-paced games. Think, StarCraft, Halo, Call of Duty, anything where it's like you're talking about doing hundreds of actions a second, right? Or maybe not that many, but you're doing a lot of actions per second.
Sure.
That's not going to work on a blockchain directly as is. The tech's just not built for that. Right. And then cost, right? Yes. Yes. And then gas. And I'm
The
sorry,
cost of
I'm trying not to
cost.
stampede you guys, but I'm so nervous. So
No,
sorry.
no, no. It's all
Continue,
good.
continue. But yeah.
Pay, pay them, pay the chain. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So obviously that is not going to work for gameplay. So a lot of games that are working just on the blockchain, what they have to end up doing is they can only produce the type of games that are on the really low frequency action end of the spectrum. So that might be like board games or auto battlers, but probably even fewer actions per minute or per hour than those type of games. They have to be like you're talking a couple actions per day because everything costs you money, right?
Well, what is the time commodity like? What would you say the average time to complete a blockchain transaction is for most blockchains too? Because I mean that's what the bare minimum limiting factor of what you have. What would you quantify that time as?
Well, I mean, it really depends. So like for example, we're building on top of Solana, which is the fastest of the fast, and you can get a block on Solana every 400 milliseconds. I think that's the fastest that you've got out
Hmm.
there. You might get some of the layer twos on top of Ethereum that are comparable, but Solana as a layer one, that's the fastest. Um, so that's one block every 400 milliseconds. But you've got to get the entire world's transactions in that, and
Yeah.
you got a block size limit of I don't know, I can't remember, but you're only gonna get a handful of transactions. You only get maybe a couple hundred, couple thousand transactions in there.
Gotcha.
Um, that's not going to support everybody. That's not going to support 10,000, 100,000 players concurrently taking action within that 400 millisecond space, right?
Exactly.
So, and not to mention the cost, even on Solana, which Solana's got great cost in terms of comparatively to other chains, but yeah, still you're going to be heavily limited there. So,
So how do we fix
um,
that?
so yeah, exactly. So we want to be able to build on top of the blockchain because it's so good at supporting ownership in terms of your coins and your tokens. But exactly, we've got to fix these problems. So the logical way to fix this, of course, is a layer two bridge, a private layer two in this case. And so that's where our platform comes in. Our web platform at MMJP that we've built is a layer two solution on top of Solana. And this is going to allow us to hit those really high action per minute rates that we need to support, 10,000 players doing something all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And this is a live game too. This game that we're building here, Next Horizon. This is online. I mean, all of your state is persisted online. It's not like a local desktop state management system. This is online. So all these players that you're taking actions, all this needs to be able to hit the service, and the service needs to be responsive to that. So the way that we're going to solve that is with a bridge. So we've built a pretty powerful bridge that'll allow us to handle all the operations that you're doing in game on our servers. And then when you're ready to go do the lower frequency type of transactions that the blockchain is good at, like trading, right? That's
Mhm.
where you can then take your tokens off onto the blockchain, and then you own them. That's one thing that I want to talk about as well. When you get into all of the problems that we just described, the downsides
Yeah.
of using the blockchain, um, the what's the benefit, right? Why take on those hurdles?
Well, I mean, this kind of goes back to one of the things of when we started the studio, what it is we were looking to do, and we talked about how everybody loves playing games, and you put a lot of time, energy, effort, and money into doing so. But with most games, once you do that, that's a sunk cost. There's no way to recoup that. And that's something where the blockchain really provides an opportunity for your players to go and say, the time and energy and money that I've invested in this, I can now find a way to recoup that cost. And it's not a sunk cost at this point. And that's one of the unique things that blockchain provides, and what we're really hoping to lean into as we look to develop these games on the blockchain.
Your time has value now.
Yeah.
Your time has meaning. You know, if you put 5,000 hours into World of Warcraft building up this character, you know, or something similar, you know, there may be someone who's willing to pick that up and run with it. You know, maybe you're done, you're walking away. That time could potentially have value for you.
And we want it to. Like that's the big thing. We want it to have value.
Exactly. And so there's this ownership. So that's what NFTs are if you think about it. Like conceptually, what have NFTs brought to the world? And that is the ability to have ownership in the digital space. And with ownership comes the right to trade, right? And so that conceptual, if you abstract all the other stuff that we're doing in the NFT space, why is NFTs so important? I think it all comes down to ownership.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So that's the why. That's why we are taking on these hurdles. Obviously, there's technical challenges to building something on a distributed system, but the benefit that is worthwhile to all of our players is ownership, right? So, so that's why we bridge. That's why we bridge. And so you'll be able to take all the stuff that you're being able to build and customize in game, and all that time that you spent building stuff up, and potentially take that out into the world and trade it. And that's awesome.
And I think we may have a diagram we can show that kind of gives a visual representation of what we're doing here. I don't know if, David, you have a chance to grab that and throw that up on the screen.
And this is super high level, just conceptual, right? Just kind of for people who aren't familiar with what a bridge is. And it's basically just a way to sort of lock your tokens and your coins up on the public distributed chain, and then open them up to be able to be used in platform, right? And so that allows us to prevent and avoid things like double spend and double use, while still being able to use your coins comfortably in game, right? And so, so awesome stuff, really awesome tech. Excited to get that in front of people. There's another aspect of this platform, though, that's not represented by this diagram, that is more specific to just online game services in general that we've built over the last year. And this has been a lot of work, but I think it's going to be really worthwhile.
What's that?
And so what we've built out is basically a highly generative system that's going to allow us to build new features at a very high feature to cost ratio. And this is basically a no-code solution, if you've heard that phrase, that's going to basically allow us at MMJP to design and be very agile with new features and be able to produce new features in games with minimal development costs, because we have a highly generative system. What that means is we can model up new concepts like ships, right? New retrofits, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. Yeah, and anything that Russ can dream up, and he can dream up a lot. He dreams fast. What's up?
I'll do my best.
Yeah, he's a fast dreamer, guys. He's super fast. There's no one who dreams faster. So we're going to be able to basically take that, put it on paper, conceptualize it, whiteboard it, and then immediately turn that into high fidelity, standardized, highly secure, highly available APIs for our game client, along with an SDK, again, with a very highly generative build pipeline. So we take that, we process it, and then we spit out APIs, we spit out high availability event-driven microservices, and we spit out an SDK to use in game clients. And this means two things. First of all, it means we can develop new features for our games rapidly, which means high features at low cost that we can then pass that benefit on to our players. Yeah. But then another huge aspect of that is the community. If you want to build a fan site that goes and pulls data from our API, we're going to have a standardized high availability API that you can pull data from, that you're going to be able to understand, because it's not an API that is just evolved, you know, as each developer comes along and bolts on new endpoints.
It's not a snowball.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this allows us to generate a very standardized API. and an SDK, so you can use that to build fan sites. So the amount of community content that could potentially be there to support our platform going forward, the possibility for that is huge. We can't guarantee that community will be putting forward all these sites, but we want to enable that. We want to empower that.
Right? And aside from just community, I want to kind of touch on this. This also enables us to do what we're looking to do with the Mallow portal and the platform
Yes.
to allow other developers to build and use the same tech too. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, and I wasn't even. Yeah. So in addition to the Next Horizon game that we're working on, in a broader scope, MMJP is working on this Mallow coin, this idea of a Mallow coin and Mallow portal, where the whole idea is to empower game developers, indie developers, to be able to build games that are online, live service games that are secure, that are efficient, that scale, that can support large numbers of concurrent players, and that also can have some interoperability with the blockchain, right? We want to empower that to other teams, other developers, right? So that Mallow portal is a big part of that vision, and then having this ability to generate APIs and SDKs for your games all ties into that, right?
Yeah, that's a really exciting component to me. Just knowing that we can do that and enable so many developers out there to do the same things that we're looking to do. And I'm just anxious to see the content that people come up with once we can get this in their hands.
Yep. We're being the first guinea pig. We're using this tech to build Next Horizon. Also, If you've seen our site, sorry, leave that. Russ, what were you gonna say?
No. I was agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Next Horizon, and then also if you've seen our site, Velkin Falling, still in the works. So we've got a couple of projects that we're working on that'll take advantage of this tech and help us build it out and mature it. And then I'm so excited to get it in front of the community so that we can see other games built on top of this platform. So really exciting stuff there. And it should make your lives so much easier if you're building an online game. You've already got great products out there, great game engines in terms of being able to build your desktop clients or your mobile app clients. But where we can come in is help you efficiently build an online live service platform for your games, right? So
that's pretty awesome.
It's awesome stuff, man. It's so cool. It's a lot of hard work to build something that builds stuff.
Well, you're a wizard too when it comes to that. So I'm very fortunate that we've got you working on this for us.
We need more. We need more wizards. So hopefully, what's up?
You can never have enough wizards.
Right. We need a couple more wizards, like one or two more. I don't know. No, we need a lot. We need more wizards. So it'll be exciting when we can start bringing on more developers. We're a small team right now. If you don't know who we are, MMJP right now, we're a pretty small team. So we've had some help from some other teams, some other devs that we've contracted with. There's some that have been great to work with, but for the most part, just like one or two devs that have been working on this. And so it's been fun, a lot of work. So we're excited to get to the point where we can finally start showing some stuff.
Absolutely. And I think the first place we're going to have to do that is with Next Horizon.
Yeah. And we're getting close. We're getting close, guys. We got some great artwork. By the way, can we talk about the artwork?
Absolutely. So we did mention, we kind of teased a little bit in our Discord that we were going to have some sneak peeks, and the image you see right now is some of the concept art that we've got for Next Horizon that our artist has been cranking away on over the past little while, and we're really proud of this. Like, it looks awesome. Again, these are sketches, so the final pieces that you're going to see of the actual ship NFTs are going to look stellar. And
so good.
I can't wait to share more with you. But we're just giving a little tease here today for all of those Next Horizon followers that we've got that are tuning in today.
So those ships look awesome. I'm so excited to get in there and customize them, dude. I'm not even kidding, man.
Yeah.
So we talk about the APM scale a little bit, and I wanted to talk about one of the cool things you can do on the lower end of that scale. By lower, I mean like fewer actions per minute scale, is your preparation phase, where if you've played a game where you're tuning a loadout or you're tuning a talent tree, right, or you're building a deck or something like that. That's kind of that preparation phase where you can take your time and really just sort of theory craft. That's really fun for me, right? When I'm not in a situation where I can actually go in and clicks per minute try and like snipe some people. I love that aspect of gameplay as well.
I do too. That's my bread and butter. And you know me, like I love to min max and find find the strongest and weakest stuff and how to combine those and make interesting, powerful combos. That's my wheelhouse, and that's what I love about games. And even as we go to create games, making sure that there's elements of that available for all of the players to enjoy.
Yeah, that's something that I think Russ is going to be able to bring to the table, and I'm super excited to see that being able to adjust. We've got a retrofit system that'll be part of Next Horizon, part of your ability to customize these ships. Yeah, we've got these ships up here on the screen right now. They look so good, guys. But being able to tune these for gameplay and customize them and really see how that affects your ability to battle them in these event systems that we're going to have. That's exciting. That's exciting for me.
Can we talk a little bit about how players are going to be able to tune them, and both for functional and cosmetic?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
So diving a little bit into Next Horizon and the gameplay mechanics there. So if you've read our game articles that we posted on Discord and the Medium articles, each of your ships are going to have a number of what's called retrofit slots available, where you can choose to customize your ship to specialize in a certain category or multiple categories. And that's really where you, as the owner of the NFTs and the ships, are going to have the ability to tune them for your fleet, since you're the fleet commander, to do the activities and the events and jobs and stuff that you want to do. And there's going to be a lot of customization there, and that's going to expand over time. Like, we're starting out with a pretty robust set of retrofits, and that'll grow throughout the life cycle of the game. But there's also some risk to that with Next Horizon, because there is a chance of failure when you go to modify your ship, and when you do, you're putting a little bit of risk involved with putting those retrofits on, and the possibility of losing those. But that kind of goes back to the collection mechanism. But it's going to be really interesting to see uh, some of the combinations and things people come up with, and how they choose to tune their fleet to really conquer the next horizon in the way that they want to. But it's going to provide a lot of opportunity for players to do lots of different things too. So I'm really anxious to see how players take that and run with it.
Dude, I'm just gonna be. I guarantee you, I'll be spinning. I'll be tweaking. Send it to an event, see how it does, and then you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like rinse, wash,
And,
and repeat.
yeah, and then beyond that, there's going to be the customization for your look too. So if you look at these ships right now, you'll see that there's several things that you could be able to change, which would be like your paint job, the lighting, your thruster color. We're going to have decals. So there'll be a lot of different things that you can do just to make your ships look unique as well. And I'm sure there's going to be people out there who are going to collect a lot of those things and make their entire fleet look like a unified force. So that'll be pretty fun to watch as well.
Awesome. And then like we said, you've put all that time into it. If you ever, um, at that point, you own it. You own it, right? So if you want to share it with your buddy or something like that, transact, right? That's an option for you in the future. So you put all that
Yeah.
time into it, made it look awesome, teched it out, it's performing well. You own it. So that's awesome.
And if you come up with something cool, you can profit from it as well. Like, you start assembling these things and really get your collection going. You can then take and try to sell those on a marketplace, and recoup a lot of your costs too, or make bank. Yeah. Yeah. That's something for me. I love Hearthstone. I grew up as a card gamer. I played cards professionally. Played Magic the Gathering. I worked at Upper Deck and actually helped make the World of Warcraft trading card game. And I've got a big passion there when it comes to that. But that's one of the things I miss now that these have gone to an online platform, is the ability to trade those. I've spent a lot of time trading cards and building my collection, as opposed to just going out and buying things. Really enjoying even the social aspect of that. So I'm really glad that we can bring some of those elements back to digital games.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm so glad you're here because that depth, that knowledge, like, oh man, it's perfect. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Anyway, sorry,
Yep.
yeah, it's great to have Russ here, guys. He knows his stuff when it comes to this type of gameplay, so it's fun. We're gonna have some cool stuff. So. So application of the retrofits, is that what you're talking about? Or yeah. So
I am getting a message. David, you may not be coming through on the stream, so make sure that our viewers can hear you. But yeah, I'm being told that you may not be able to be heard on the stream. Maybe so. So let's revisit that. Let's try that one more time.
yeah.
Okay.
So what, in case David didn't come through, what he was asking, if I remember right, was whether or not the retrofits would be applied off chain. And so I think our focus there with that balance of what goes on chain and what goes off chain, again, the chain is really good for ownership. So anything that involves ownership or transfer of ownership, we want to put that on chain. Typically, anything that you do with your ownership, though, is going to be something that's taken off chain. So any of the actions that you take with your ship or to upgrade your ship would be done off chain, and then those get realized on chain. Sort of at the time that you want to take it on, take it back through the bridge, take it back on chain, and trade it. That's
So can we walk through an example of that? Like, let's say I've got my ship that I've minted, and I've been collecting these retrofits and cosmetics. When I go and say now I want to transact this ship, I want to trade it to my buddy, or I want to sell this. What happens? Do all of those things that I've applied to my ship go with it when I basically thaw it and then go to transact? That becomes part of that NFT. Is that how
Yep.
that's going to work, or are they separate NFTs that are bundled with it?
Well, so in some cases, I mean, there may be some NFTs that are grouped together, but in this case, what we just described right there, if you've applied a retrofit to a ship, that is associated with that ship, and basically, so as you've customized the ship, what you can do is all the metadata is mutable, and that's the
Okay.
important thing. A lot of people think that metadata with an NFT is immutable, that the blockchain means immutable, but it's not, right? So the metadata for your ship, the things that you've upgraded with it, is mutable metadata.
Cool.
And so over time, we can actually upgrade the attributes of your ship as you apply these retrofits and things like that, and then you can basically, we want to avoid double spend, right? And so basically what you're going to do is you lock the ship in our system, and say that you want to take it on chain. And what that does is it basically unlocks it on the blockchain. At that point, you're free to transact it. And then whoever you trade it to can then lock it on the chain to bring it back into our system. At that point, they can use it with their account.
So how is that going? So we've got several things with regards to the things that you can apply to your ship. The retrofits are pretty much there. You can't remove those. If you go to replace them, it kind of burns what's existing. But the
Right.
cosmetics are something that we intend to have where, I apply a paint job, I want to remove that paint job and save it for later for a different ship. So if I purchase through a marketplace a ship that has these things on there, do I then get the NFT, or am I able to pull those off of my ship once it's back into our system, the off-chain system, and then apply that to another one of my ships and sell that? Like, how is that going to function?
So that's actually so that's something that hasn't, that specific detail, paint jobs, we can do it either way, right? So that's something
Yep.
that we haven't fully locked in, that mechanic.
Okay.
But we can do that. We can definitely have that be removable, and then the paint job could be something that you could independently trade as an NFT, or it could be locked and go with.
That's amazing. I really like that.
So that particular mechanic, like I said, hasn't been locked in. We're still got some things in flux here as we're prototyping. We're probably sort of pre-alpha, early alpha phase right now, so there's still some details that we're getting locked in. But that's definitely some cool options there that we can support either of those, whichever's more fun, frankly. So
Alpha. Yeah. We're close to alpha. I can't wait.
yeah, we're close. We're close. Soon,
Yeah.
TM. But yeah.
I did want to say one thing. I know we've got a few viewers now. If you have questions or things that you want us to answer specifically, please feel free to pop those in the chat, and we'll field those and try to answer all of your questions. So please don't be shy about posting those up in there.
Right.
Okay.
Do you have any questions that I've missed? Let's see. Anything? Let's see. Just scanning the chat here to see if we got any questions.
I don't see any questions.
Yeah, not quite
Or
specifically. Mostly talking about ownership and a desire for a secondary market for those digital assets, especially when it comes to not you mentioned World of Warcraft where you put time into it, but
yeah.
games that focus specific that are collecting games.
Hmm.
The ones that come to mind are trading card games, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering. I think like Riot Games has one out.
But
And things
even
like
think
that.
about
Yeah.
some of the shooters right now. I mean, you look at games, uh, like Rust or uh, not so much in Fortnite. Fortnite's mostly skins, but where there's gameplay that takes place in the game, and you're trying to collect and kind of build up your armory or whatever it is for your character. There's
Right.
a lot of games like that. Escape from Tarkov is another good example where you kind of have your stash of gear, and
Yes.
all those become things that you can transact on the blockchain, and as you collect them throughout your gameplay, which I think is just just really amazing to me, and brings back that collectability aspect that we talked about when it was paper trading cards, and bringing that back to the digital space.
And I think it makes it more engaging too. And I mean,
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
myself, if it's, if I know that it's not a sunk cost or sunk time, I feel like I'm more encouraged to participate because even again, I bring up World of Warcraft because I've been playing Warcraft for too many years. Um, you have those moments where you're like, I love this game. I've been playing it so much, but you have to keep playing it, otherwise it's
Yeah. But how amazing would it
lost.
be to go? Everybody goes through those has gone through those phases of World of Warcraft where you have to step away for a while. But
Right.
what if you were able to go like I've made a lot of progress in this expansion, and I want to see some value for that. So I go and sell what I have right now, and then 6 months down the line when the next expansion comes out, or when I have a chance to play again, when life allows me to be able to take that money that I got and then buy back in and kind of pick up where I left off,
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yep. Ownership. It's a big thing, and I think it's going to make a huge difference in a lot of
Yeah,
these games going forward. So it's the potential of the blockchain that's been out there for a while. I think that's driven a lot of hype around NFTs, but that hasn't really quite been fully realized yet. You know what I mean? In the game space. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Um, guys, the coffee's wearing off. No, I'm so many nerves. I think we've covered kind of like the main themes that we wanted to hit for this week. We just kind of had a short stream. Actually, lore. Is there anything about lore that we can talk about with Next Horizon specifically, or do we want to save that for a future edition?
Good question.
I
Go
Maybe
ahead, David.
was
maybe we'll save it. Well, because good question means we're probably not ready to like dive deep on that. To me, is that
Well, I,
fair?
I was just gonna say it's right now. It's not a deep dive. I know that we have originally when we were first talking about Next Horizon, however long ago that was. We
Yeah.
had we there was kind of like this backstory of like a black hole, and human
Uh,
civilization had to expand and go off. But we've kind of shift from that,
Yep.
and it's more,
A
we're
little
in the
happier.
future, right? A little
Yeah.
less doomsday, and there's just been incredible
We,
advancements
we
in
I think
technology.
I don't
Yeah.
mind talking about this a little bit. I think you can kind of relate this to like the new frontier when you think about and colonizing the West with regards to U.S.
Hmm.
And this is kind of an opportunity. You kind of think of the players and kind of the mindset of the story that's taken place is there's been this big technological breakthrough that's allowed us to travel and colonize this other galaxy, and everybody is chomping at the bit to be able to get over there and be one of the first to colonize and establish it, and kind of put a way of life together. And that's kind of the theme that we're going for with regards to Next Horizon. It's that new frontier basically that's unexplored and undiscovered, and there's so many opportunities, and that one gives a lot of interesting gameplay for the players, but also as game developers gives us a lot of opportunity to really do some wild stuff, and to really expand and see what it is that the players are enjoying, and really tailor the gameplay uh, to the player base itself. So for me as a developer, that's something that's really interesting and really appealing, and there's a lot of opportunity there.
There's a lot of lawlessness, you
Yeah.
know. that comes with the Wild Wild West. You know what I mean?
There is.
It's very
It's
Firefly.
interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to
I love
see how that evolves in the next Horizon too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to prove that space travel isn't just for billionaires.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Just
The
a
every
tag team of smugglers can make it out there.
Yeah. But you also think about the Wild West, and the gold rush is a good example. Like the people who got rich at the gold rush were not the ones digging for gold; it was the people selling the shovels. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people to kind of pick and choose how they want to position themselves in that new frontier and in the economy to really achieve what it is they're looking to do.
And remember that all that can potentially tie back into the real world economy too, which is just crazy to think about.
I love that, Helen. The fastest ships in the West, gunslingers. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah. But for lore, we've been busy. I know that we are working on some more lore, and we've talked about it.
There'll be more that we share soon,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give away too much right now. This is our first session. We want people to come back and tune in and see a lot of the other content things that we have to share as we keep doing this series. So
yeah, agreed. There's gonna be so much to share. A lot of stuff coming. Lore, more artwork, gameplay coming soon. So again, this is kind of like a big intro to the team and what we're doing. Super exciting, huge tech under the hood, right? Because we're not just building for Next Horizon. We're building for the community to build games, and that's like there's so underneath the surface you got like this iceberg, and a little bit of it, right? And then you've got underneath it just like a mass of stuff that we're building. So, stay tuned is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and if you didn't make this, because I think this will be available online. So if you're tuning into this later, join us next week. We'll have, we'll be opening up to questions. Hi, everyone who joined us. Welcome.
You said next week.
Well,
I think we're going to try to do these.
Sorry. Bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think we're going to do these bi-weekly and try to make sure that we can get these on a recurring basis. So I think in 2 weeks is when we'll be doing the next one.
Cool.
Hey, we're looking forward to having you.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun, man. Come hang out with us. Oh, come hang out with us in Discord, by the way. We're there pretty much every day, just chatting, talking about tech, talking about games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Streaming occasionally.
And for those of us that are joining us, watching the VOD of this, maybe a couple of days later, feel free to join our Discord. Our staff is always there. We'll be glad to respond to questions there. And that's where you can get the most up-to-date information on the game and how it's progressing. So as always, feel free to jump in. I think we've got a link just below the stream where you can find the Discord and come chat with us. Exactly what Rusty said.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Rusty, for taking us through all the tech side, and Russ with the gameplay and some of the art. My
pleasure.
Trying to do this every other week, so give us a follow, join the Discord, and we'll see you at the next Campfire chat.
David, Rusty, thank you very much for joining me today, and Rusty, thanks for hosting this one. I look forward to a couple weeks from now doing this again.
It's fun, man. It was good. Thanks, guys. Good chat.
All right. Later, all.
Thanks, you guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.